Salute and welcome to the channel, Goodbread. Now, we're going to do something different today. I had the cam up because I had to say, how y'all doing, yo? I miss y'all. I hope y'all all doing well. And I appreciate y'all, yo. I appreciate y'all tuning in and just giving me y'all ear, you know what I mean? Your time is money, and you spend it with me. So I'm a value that. You know what I mean, guys? So let me let y'all follow on in. I'm on my way to the warehouse, y'all know. But I grabbed this video because I want to talk to my people in my community, the ones that care. You know, we got a lot of bullshitters in our community, but I never care about those ones. And this, you know what I notice about the bullshitters? They always want you to think how they think. And they bullshit, you know what I mean? I'm about action, guys. Like, I really like to get to the solution of things, you know what I mean? I like to figure things out, you know what I mean? I don't just like to talk about it. I don't like to complain about it. Guys, y'all gotta follow me on Facebook too, because if you just follow me on YouTube, you probably think I'm a wild monster that hate women and, you know, all of this stuff that you deflect to when you get triggered by a message. And I understand, but you gotta understand that my messages are strategically placed that way because one of the biggest problems we have in our community is the way we treat each other. Men and women, black men and black women treat each other. And we've been taught to treat each other that way. Men are only adapting to what women put out there. Understand that. And I know the women is not gonna wanna admit that, but yes, the government is highly in our community. The government is in our community through the women, because the government have a funny little trick to themselves. They will trick the women or get the women to believe something, and once the women believe something, then the men go. This is why our society is built like that, guys. Think about it. Women get in the club for free, but the man gotta pay. You know what I mean? If the women buy, the men is going. This is why when you market to the women. If the women like it, then the men is gonna like it. And that's been a staple in our society, and it's been pushed in our community, guys. It's been pushed in our community, so this is what they do. This is why we just had that snap scare, right? Because they're threatening the women through the kids. And they know once they threaten the women and scare them through the kids, they're gonna go out there and train the men to be stupid. Women gonna influence the men to be stupid. That's how that works, bro. I learned a long time ago. The school controls the kids, the church controls the women, and the prison controls the man mind. And we talking about the black man. Salute to all my Caucasian, my natives, my Latino supporters. I appreciate you guys too. Y'all already know the message. Y'all get the message. Y'all already understand what I'm trying to do. Because if we become great, if my community get on their shit, then man, America will be great. Because we are the people. We are that people. We are that chosen one. We are those people. But we damn sure don't act like it. On a mass scale. Not all. And y'all know me. Y'all should know me by now. I'm not finna say that. Not all shit. I'm not finna say that. We know. But enough rambling. Let's get into today's content, guys. I feel it's really important for us to see the problem. When we see the issue, then we can stop denying that it is an issue.
As a reporter for the Chicago Daily Defender, and as a black woman married to a black man, I become deeply aware of the effects of this new black revolution on the relationship between black man and black woman. I see it among my own friends, and I also see it in my home. But the most revealing and the most vocal statements about what the new black man expects from the new black woman came when I met with a group of young unmarried friends one Saturday afternoon.
So I want you to peep game, Goodbreads, right off the rip. What is with this labeling of the new black man and the new black woman? So what were they before the new black and the new, what was they before that? And keep in mind, this content dates back to 1968.
I think that what's happening in America as far as black men, black women is concerned is that there's a revolution within a revolution. We are fighting our own woman. Our woman will not allow us to emerge as black men. No. But our black women, who has been put in this role of aiding white America, white structure, and castrating the black male, has continued doing this. She cannot live with us. It's not that we can't live with her.
Are you blaming us? Are you saying that it's our fault that this happened?
No, I'm not blaming black America women. I just said that I'm blaming the system. They are victims of the system like the black male.
Exhibit 1, guys. You see how this black man can't even communicate with his woman, because the minute he go to correct her and check her, she's talking about he's blaming her. And then when you don't have no answer to give her, like millions of black men before him, they're just blame it on the system. When you don't have an answer for the black woman, you say the system. She already know you ain't a very good leader. Because to blame it on the system is not leadership as a black man. Now you need to tell this woman the truth. This is where the communication breakdown between black men and black women. Black men have to tell these sisters the truth.
Well, why do you say that we are castrating you? You say that you want to be the leaders. Okay, well, what about the black professional woman? Are you saying that there should be no black professional woman? Are you trying to deny black women the right to be creative, the right to function?
These are the conversations that need to be had in these households. But you got to understand how conversations work. You listen, you talk, then you listen, and you don't listen to reply. So you got to be open to accepting what the man is going to tell you now, sis. And as you see in this conversation, she immediately went to the programming, to what's been pushed and pumped by her government. And remember, in the beginning, I told you the government will sell these women on an idea, and then these women will go and push it to the man and want the man to execute the idea that the government came up with. So we're not saying that we want to lead. We're telling you, sis, we have to lead. The order will always be God, man, woman, and child. Whenever that order is broken, it's all chaos. It's what you see now in 2025. And that's how he should have addressed that question. That's how he should have communicated that to her. You don't go blaming it on the system.
We're not asking for you to take a back
That's
seat.
what you
We're
said.
saying that you have got to be astute enough and can view the situation well enough where you just automatically know what your role is and step back. And whenever you want to have that aggressive thing, this is the thing that the young black man today is not going to tolerate. My old man tolerated it because his old man tolerated it. It came up for years and years and years. But today, the young black man is not going to take it. He's going to be out there as a leader. White America has used black women to keep the black male in his place. And you're still aiding him by saying, well, we are qualified, we want to work, we can help.
Okay, how are you going to reprogram men so that they don't let us take over what's supposed to be their responsibility? And men that I have had dealings with, they are perfectly willing to sit back and let us do anything we want to.
I don't think that you have to reprogram men. I think you have to reprogram women.
No, you have to reprogram the man so that he will forcefully take what belongs to him, because you know women, as long as we can get, we're going to get, and it's part of our being. We're going to do anything to you that you let us, whether we want to or not.
Now, let's be honest here. Men are adapting and adjusting to what the women have been presenting over the years. So if we want the men to react and adjust a different way, then we have to start with the women, because the attack is on our sisters. You understand? And the same way our sisters has been taught that they can go out there and be a man and be a boy, because that's literally what they're doing when they enter this workplace. God ain't asked y'all sisters to do that. That was not ever a sister's punishment for eating the apple. Yes, both of us ate the apple. So I'm not going to sit here and try to neglect the responsibility men have in this. But men know his responsibility. Men were created for their responsibility, which is to work hard until our hands bleed and sweat fill our brow. God, our Father, our Creator, our leader, never told the woman to come down here after eating that apple and do that, and to chase this big dream of becoming CEO and millionaires, and that's not in the plan. God ain't draw it up like that. So you will never get the results the way he drew it up.
You don't want to live on the level of income that I can afford you and love me on the basis of that. You want to always be inspired to have all those things that's a part of the great middle class white American society. And because I can't deliver these things to you, you say that you are not a man.
I don't measure a man by how much money he can bring home. I measure a man by how he treats me. Whether when I'm tired and I'm sick and I'm scared, he's there.
Now, remind you guys, I do this to represent the good in our culture. Yes, I have a wife, I have custody of all my kids, I have businesses, so I'm not doing this from a bitter standpoint. I'm doing this because I understand that if you see a good example, then you can mimic that good example and get great results. That's how I got where I'm at. That's how I got the results I got. I didn't get the results by sitting, watching, and hating on folks. I watch, I mimic, and I get the results. And that's how we gonna get out of where we at now.
For these women, the men are there. But with the feeling of racial pride has come new conflicts and new problems. Across America, they meet to discuss what black awareness means to their families and to them as black women of today.
You know, there have been a lot of myths created about the black family. We all recognize that. And one of the most pernicious myths is the myth of the black matriarch.
No, ma'am. I'm sorry, sis. That's not a myth. Now, you can say a stereotype, and even a stereotype is not a myth. Stereotypes are studied behavioral patterns. All right? And that's not a myth. You guys been given the mammy assignment since slavery. You guys have been given the position over men since slavery.
The black woman has not been a matriarch in the sense that it has been defined thus far. And thank God research, and I hope black research, is being done now to reverse that kind of thing. In fact, the black woman has been a woman at the head of a household, not by choice, but by necessity. And more often, that's right, and more often than not, she is not a strong, matriarchal, aggressive, domineering figure. She is a woman in search of a man. But this story has not been told.
The prejudiced society created what we have now. So that's what we were. Okay, we have a revolution going on. We're part of the revolution.
We're in an evolution. I think the revolution is yet to come.
Yeah, it's the. Well, this thing
we keep tossing the word revolution around lightly.
It's extremely important for black history and culture to be transmitted from generation to generation. And the best way, the most effective way that this has always been done is through the family, acting as the primary unit of social organization. And I think one reason why it has not been done with black people is because of the destruction done to our family life. So this certainly has to be one function of the black marriage, to begin to reemphasize and to pick up the thread of Afro-American history and culture that has been left off generations ago when Africans were sold into slavery, when the family unit was purposely destroyed.
Most middle-class homes, quote middle-class homes, like I don't even get caught up in that bag, you go into will have some copy of anybody, any white artist, I don't even have to name anybody, instead of the works of black artists. I think it starts, especially that identity part, the books, the kinds of books. All of these things start in the home rather than complaining about them being in the schools at this point.
Unless we're absolutely certain of how that teacher is handling them, then we may have to assume that whole responsibility. We may have to pull them out of school ourselves, and do all the educating ourselves.
Great point. And that's what they were supposed to be doing. That's their only responsibility. You know how God punished us by having us work till we die. Their punishment wasn't to work till they die. So for them to come down here and feel they got to be CEOs and into the workplace, that was the devil work. God wanted y'all to look after them babies and be ruled by a man. That's what God asked you ladies to do. Now, whoever y'all let slide in your ear and convince y'all else, that's on y'all. And then I go back to why I said, not picking on y'all, that we got to start by reprogramming y'all mind, because y'all mind has been tampered with. Whenever the government could come in and tell you to do the opposite of what your natural biology, that's your God-given abilities, is telling you, you know you're going to have a problem, sister. And that's the biggest problem we have in our community today. Black women let white women and their feminist ideologies into the black community.
Say, for instance, when they say to my child to draw, last year Rhonda painted Abraham Lincoln brown and she was put in the corner, We had to go up to the school and deal with that. They must be respectable to their peers in school. And what we do, we handle that. We don't say, you jump up, you curse that teacher out, or you say it doesn't exist. But they see us at that school knocking on the door. You have to be in there. Either we're going to control, their minds here, or at least give them the choice.
A lot of this is new to us, and a lot of these things we're grappling with, and we don't want to give anybody the impression that we have the answer to everything.
Not only that, though, let me cut you off again. People go around talking about hate. We really don't have time to hate because, it goofs up the bag. We're loving ourselves. Mm-hmm. This might bring around a lot of other different things.
To be black means to love. It's got nothing to do with having to hate anybody.
It does determine, though, Francis, and has nothing to do with hate again. It's love. That we might have to do certain things to protect that love.
It may bring us into conflict with somebody.
Necessary to protect that love.
Finally, I asked Francis about the standards of today's black man as compared with those of 20 years ago.
Standards which white society had projected. I think these standards were that he had to become successful according to the white mode. He had to get a good job, he had to buy a good car, he had to move to the suburbs, he had to rear a good family that went to church every Sunday, that did everything that the typical good American family was supposed to do. And I don't think the black man necessarily is addicted to that notion. I think he sees the falsity of it. I think he sees the total hypocrisy of it. I think he wants to rear a tightly knit family, but not for the purposes that white society says. He doesn't want to rear a family for any sham purposes, just to fulfill some false ethic. But he wants to rear a good family in order to have his children strong, reared in his own image perhaps, and to transmit, most importantly, to transmit the values which he is learning to his children, and to try to ensure as best he can that his children will transmit those same values to their children, and have the same transmission repeated from generation to generation.
We gotta have these conversations, guys. Me and Mrs. Goodbread would not have survived 21 years plus if we don't have these conversations. You got to be real. You got to keep it real with each other, bro. All you got is each other, to be honest with you. God said to find one lady and lock in, be about him, and win. And for some strange reason, we allowed the devil to come in the middle of that and confuse things. The devil is the author of confusing. So we got to unconfuse it. We got to get together. We got to link and holler at our sisters. Sisters, you got to holler at your brothers, and you got to find out the answers. What's wrong? It don't hurt you to ask, is everything okay? What's wrong? We got to start caring about each other a little bit more. We done got so selfish, and I'm not going to say who's to blame for the selfishness. We've both gotten so selfish. We've both got so self-absorbed. And we have to stop that. It's killing us from within, guys. Now, getting back to the feminism trick. I like to tell you guys, and I teach from a Lilith and Eve perspective. Eve and Adam was great in that garden. And if we talk about the Bible, then we know that that's black people. That's the black people story right there. All the characters in there are black. The devil black too. And Eve and Adam were great in that garden. It was the feminism that came around that garden by way of the serpent and Lilith. Yes, Lilith, the first wife of Adam, who did not want to be submissive. She wanted to be this modern way, this modern woman way. She wanted to be the new woman. Well, Lilith brought her ass back to that garden and served that apple to Eve to convince the black woman to be just as feminist as her. That's when all things went to hell in our community. Prove me wrong. Let's go to the comment sections. If you know better than that, if you got better results than me and you know a better piece of information that can get this ship right correctly, put it in the comments. But if you absolutely agree with the whole feminism, the whole Lilith, and the whole garden, then just give me a 100 and a bread loaf in the comment section, guys. I'll see you guys later. Y'all know how we do over here. Like, share, subscribe if you new, and also hit that hype button, because this the type of content that our community need. I strategically made sure I removed some triggers. I didn't want to trigger everybody. I want you to get this information. I want you to absorb this type of information. I want to give you something to think about. And don't just think. You know what I mean? When you absorb it, activate it, guys, and get you a win, get you a blessing, because we all running around here doing it the way we think it's supposed to be done. When there's a way, there's a real way for it to be done. And if we start following that way, we'll see better results as a community, as a whole. All right, y'all.